It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7. And I'm going to start at verse 2, and it reads, It is better to go to the house of mourning to Salakia. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to heart. Salakia, and the living will lay it to his heart. Two. Freedom to do so now more so than ever. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say shalom. It says view of almost empty Six Flags during spring break is unnerving. This is dated 1 day ago, and I'm gonna read a little bit of it. And I got another article, I believe. It says for decades the Six Flags park all across North America. Salakia, for decades the multiple Six Flags parks all across North America have offered theme park lovers and adrenaline addicts a cheaper, more accessible alternative to other legacy theme parks like Disney's and Universal. Of course, all these theme parks took a big hit during the P. Diddy or pandemic, but while most big parks bounced back, some Six Flag locations are still struggling to do so. And yeah, I think they said something about Disney. Like Disney's about to lay off like 7,000 people. So it ain't just Six Flags. You got to really pay attention to what Esau be saying. Now, yeah, maybe this one's struggling more than others, but it's ultimately people don't have the money, you know what I mean, to spend on something, if it ain't worthwhile, people don't really spend the money, you know what I mean? If it's something that you ain't needed, that's, especially people that have less, people that, you got the wealthy or the ones that doing better, like majority Edomites, they can afford to do a lot more than Jake. But Jake can literally like go without, when it comes to certain things, because if they can't afford it, that's what Jake mindset is. If they can't afford it, they be like, fuck it, So yeah, you're gonna see more of this, like these certain jobs, like I say, when it's on as far as entertainment, because you got entertainment at the house. You know what I mean? It says, so, who gonna spend $100, $200 at a park where, they said you got to ride all the way out there to get them. Most of these theme parks, like this Six Flags, is not in Cleveland. You got to drive out of the city to reach this. It says, family vloggers went to Six Flags Magic Mountain over spring break a time when the park would normally be packed. However, this time the park was a ghost town. Yeah, it made me think of scripture, because people, and Murph is leaving this place. That entertainment, although entertainment theater is still a distraction, and so a lot of things being used at distraction points. These theme parks and whatnot, this entertainment and whatnot. Well, the brother just brought out at the camp, the whole situation with Donald Trump and being indicted. It's funny. You know what I mean? All this time prior to this, but right before, when all this major shit happened, and now you want to talk about indicting him. You didn't talk about indicting him. This man been out of office for a while. If you really wanted to indict him, And I know things take time, but come on, nothing moves in this world unless the people behind the scenes, the earth was given into the hand of the rulers. If they want Donald Trump to go, he gonna go. Well, ultimately, it's the will of Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah, Says, where are all the crowds? Normally, a mostly empty park would be a dream come true for a few. True for a few visitors, but with most of the best rides also being closed, they don't really get to reap the benefits of having no lines. Between the ghost town vibe and lots of shut down rides, the park just feels kind of unnerving. And why exactly it's so dead? Of course, not every school district has the exact same. So like it has the exact theories about the weak attendance and the ride closures. Many people pointed fingers at California's recent struggles with temperamental weather. Staffing issues were also mentioned. But in actuality, it's people who can't afford this shit like that for real. Again, I think I did a video on it. Like Disney just laid off like 7,000 people. Now that's like kind of, they try to say that's a drop in the bucket when it goes into how many people Disney actually employs. But again, when you go into, people can't afford this because of, because they just don't have the money. What you expect? This other article. And then this is the E3, so this is the Entertainment Expo, And I think it's an Electronic Entertainment Expo, if I'm not mistaken. Entertainment Software Association. So basically, you got all these software producers, that make the video games and whatnot. Another distraction. Basically, they have this every year, and this year they canceled it. It makes you question what's about to happen. Because if they're not even trying to distract you with folly, well, it says the return of E3 to Los Angeles is off as publishers retreat from the gaming expo. That's dated the 30th. It says E3 2023 has been canceled. Organizers at the Entertainment Software Association announced Thursday following the reported withdrawal of major publishers like Ubisoft, Sega, and Tencent. Those companies joined console manufacturers Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, who had previously confirmed they wouldn't take part in this year's E3, an event that promised to return the speculated gaming industry show to Los Angeles for the first time in 4 years. This was a difficult decision because of all the effort we and our partners put toward making this happen, but we had to do what's right for the industry and what's right for E3. The cancellation of the E3 2023, the third scrap version of the event in recent years, is another distressing indicator of the health of the expo and the industry's valuation of it. After E3 2019, the most recent in-person version of the event, E3 2020, was canceled in response to the CV-19. Game publishers held their own digital showcases instead that summer over the course of a few months. In 2021, E3 was held as an all-digital event. The ESA attempted both an in-person and digital version of E3 2022, but both incarnations were canceled. they're not really going into why. You know, you're pushing this megaverse, you know, metaverse shit, and pushing, you know, all this, you know, Zoom and everything. Just basically, you're doing a lot of stuff without being in contact with one another. But again, the point of me bringing up the article is the fact that those that are heavy video gamers, they're familiar with this. That's where they showcase new video game ideas, concepts, whatnot, and they've canceled it within the last 3 years. You know, so I mean, I'm sure money's being spent because the economy's still moving a little bit, but nonetheless, that's the mirth ceasing from this place, because that's a big distraction. There's big entertainment. So, you know, with the video game being displayed, you know, like that, so made me think of the scriptures. Book of Isaiah, chapter 24. I'm gonna start at verse 1. Skip. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 1, and it reads, "Behold, the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker, so with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him." Verse 3, "The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua have spoken this word." Verse 4, "The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish." And you're seeing that now. You know, you got a lot of civil unrest going on the planet right now. And, you know, brother was just bringing up something that was going on. I remember a lot of protests going on in Atlanta, but he was going into basically, you know, you got a media blackout because they rioting out there. So, you know, we keep constantly talking about how these things that's going on, like in France and Israel, you know, these uproars of the people, we're going to make it to America. Well, you got them already happening in America. Verse 5, "The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant." And, you know, 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because they were given the covenant, have broken that. So, you know, the world is languishing. But also, you know, it tells you in the scriptures that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, you know, because they chose to put their hands upon this book and call themselves the people of the Lord. You know, the scriptures talk about who are thou to declare thy statutes, you know, and commandments, roughly paraphrased. So they call themselves the people. So now that you basically called yourselves the people, you know, you're going to be judged by the standards of the scriptures, you know. Verse 8, "The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoiceth endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth." And, you know, all this distraction and folly is ceasing. And that's what the point of that article with the Six Flags thing is. You know, they talking about a ghost town. Well, you know, all that mirth when people, you know, every Friday, you ever heard of that restaurant TGI Fridays? You know, every Friday, you know, I remember my sister used to, that was like one of her favorite restaurants she'd like to go to, you know, you know, after work, you know, people can't even afford to do that. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, these buying and selling is still going on. You still got people out and about, you know, eating at these places. But also you're going to have, you know, like I did a video, it was 26 Burger Kings basically shut down, you know, in Detroit. Well, you're going to have, you know, and that's fast food. And I marveled at it because the simple fact is, during the pandemic, that's what kept this place going. They thought they was in good case, because you keeping fast food restaurants open. But now after that, a number of them, like, basically, you got to take the time to think about this. If Six Flags, that's probably gonna close down. Because the simple fact is, they only have a certain season to make money. During the spring and summer season, maybe fall. But for the most part, they usually open up around spring and summer. They said that literally this place wasn't open during the spring break. Like, that's when they officially start opening. Well, they've been closed down. Well, if they don't make a certain, in order to be a successful business, you got to make a certain profit to sustain the business. So, I mean, with that being said, again, you're seeing the mirth of this place basically going away. This is the book of Hosea chapter 2. Verse. It's talking about Israel. Because when you go into Hosea, basically that represents Israel. That's why the Most High had Hosea bury a harlot, because Israel was likened onto that harlot. Then the children. What's the one son? Ami and Ramah. It was another one. Jeshurun. That's what scriptures talk about. Jeshurun, wax fat and kick. But it says, for their mother played, for their mother hath played the harlot, she that conceiveth them hath done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy way with thorns and make a wall that she shall not find her paths. And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband. So, I was listening to Brother Bakor Ahmad from Men of Valor. He was going into, a woman, play you and then go off with another guy and then try to come back. So, made me think of that. He said, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now. And our first husband is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Yahweh, the Most High Yahweh. But the point I wanted was verse 11. I will also cause all her mirth. Well, I'm gonna continue. It says, for 8, for she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof. Now this is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. He said, you done gave my corn. He said, for she did not know that I gave her corn and wine and oil. It talks about in the scriptures about the things needed for man. The blood of the grape. I think it's in what's that? Sirach chapter 39. Water. Blood of the grape is 6 things for the use of man, but it turned to evil towards the sinner. It says, multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return and take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of mine hand. As it tells you in the scriptures, it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her moon, her feast days, her new moons, and her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. And I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she hath said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them. The Lord gonna basically take away, basically the Lord gonna leave us You know, and it's spiritual too, because you know the scriptures talk about you know, basically, you know, trying to, you know, save this life. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose, and to those that lose their life shall to gain everlasting life. Roughly paraphrase. So people try to hold on to these things. The Most High putting you in a trick bag. He's gonna take away everything regardless. You know what is you gonna really try to hold on to? You gonna hold on to the Most High, or you gonna try to hold on to this world? The Most High, you know, is basically gonna make the mirth cease, and he's doing it. Like I said, a lot of people are frustrated. That's why you got a lot of violence going on in the world. You know, we gonna see how this month go. They just stopped those emergency which is the stamps, food stamps. So how do you think people go see how they react after that one? Huh? The scriptures talk about now this time is high time to wake out of sleep. You know, because our salvation is nearer than what we believe. You know, these things are at the door. You know, scriptures talks about the end is nigh. This is the book of Second Timothy, Salakis, book of Second Peter, chapter 3, and verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. You know, so that day of, you know, the day of the Lord is going to basically come as a thief. You know, and like that's what scriptures talk about. They're going to say peace and safety, and then sudden destruction shall appear. You know, you got people basically up there. You then watch this catastrophe happen in the banking industry. You got Biden come on TV talking about, oh yeah, your money's safe. And you guys, you know, I'll never forget, I showed a guy my job, and he might be Jake. You know, he looked like an Ephraimite, you know. And, you know, I told him though just to see, because I wanted to tell him the truth, but I done got in, you know, situations because of trying to tell the truth on the job to, you know, so now I'm trying to use more wisdom. But I just wanted to see what he was going to do with this. So I showed him about the banking situation. This goofy ass guy, and I'm not saying take all your money out of the bank, but what I'm saying is you'll be a fool to leave all your money in the bank though. You know, like you'd be a fucking fool to leave all your money in the bank. You know, maybe try to at least diversify it a little bit. But it says about it, you know, this dude, after I showed him, like, oh man, wow. Then I showed him another article where it's talking about like it's 187 banks basically struggling right now, going catching hell, going through trouble. And he was like, oh man, I'm trying to figure out, should I take my money out of the bank? And I'm just like, wow. So what are you gonna do with the truth? Scriptures talk about casting out your pearls before swine. You know, the Lord put it on my spirit that I was supposed to tell him this. You know, but you know, I just, you know, sometimes you could just tell Jake. You know, sometimes you prophesy to the wind. You know, or, you know, if they hear or forbear. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. What can do that? An ICBM missile, you know, a nuclear missile, where the very elements of the air will be on fire. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So seeing that these things are taking place, what type of person you should be? You should be, you know, a repentant person. You should, you know, be what's the word? Repentant, meaning sorrowful about what you did and want to turn back from those ways. And if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, basically coming back to the laws, statutes, commandments that's given to you from your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's who you should try to be, because at the end of the day, no matter money, brothers was speaking on, you know, how you had an Edomite with over $1 million worth of guns. Like none of those things are gonna save you. No money. It tells you in scriptures that they're gonna cast their silver and gold in the streets, because you can't eat no silver coin. You know what I mean? You can't eat a silver bar. You can't. You know what I mean? You can use those things. You know, it says in the scriptures that money answereth all things. So yeah, money is a defense. You know. You can use those things to barter, but at the same time, a person with a pistol could take your money. So it's ultimately up to the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, this is your money, you know, doing this work, you know, because the same power that's basically causing these things to happen, to take place, to setting all this up, is the only power that's going to be able to protect you from it or allow you to get through it if you are that number of that chosen. So, you know, that article just caught my attention. Lord willingly was edifying. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes and commandments of your power, whose true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, or you will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to call Elohim, La Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua Ba'ashem Rachakodesh Wakatam. Double honors to my apostles, the elders of the great millstone, who teach and do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.